So recently I was doing my top 10 favorite slasher films of each decade, starting from the 2010s, working backwards all the way to the golden age of the 1980s. And whilst doing that, I wanted to do a list of what I thought were the most overlooked slasher films. Now, these are the first 10 that came to my mind. Of course, there would be more. And when I say lesser known, I was trying to say that towards the people who really know their shit. People who are genre fans, not just the general audience, because you could throw out obvious titles like The Burning or something, or even lesser known titles like a Blood Rage or a Mutilator or something. And, you know, the majority of actually probably all the general audience will have no idea what the hell you're talking about. But the slasher fans will be like, I know all of those. So I'm not trying to say those here. Those are great movies. You know, those are lesser known slasher films, but this is lesser known slasher films for the people who know the lesser known slasher films. So they're even lesser known. I did a top 10 lesser known found footage list, and it's my most watched video to this day. Like, I still get comments on it like every day for the last 3 years. It's crazy how much people watch that video. So here we go. Top 10, not top 10, a 10 list here. We're going to do 10 that were right off the top of my head. We're going to start with probably the most questionable, because I do feel like the people who know the Mutilator and the Blood Rages and this and that. But honestly, these are just movies I never feel like get talked about. And the first one is going to be Don't Go in the House. Now, as I said, that's probably something a lot of you have heard of. And you might have heard of all of these for all I know. But these were ones that I just genuinely feel like don't get almost any attention ever. Like, do I know people who have seen them? Absolutely. Do they ever get brought up when it comes to the slasher discussion? Almost never. And I just feel like these are films that I really enjoy personally, that I want to share and be like, hey, look, these never get talked about. Let's chat about them. So in no particular order, because as I said, it was just the first 10 that kind of came to my mind. Don't Go in the House. This is a Psycho ripoff, if you will. I just really like the character of Donnie. I really like where this story heads. I think there's such a great eeriness to this. There's not a lot of kills, and the kills aren't all that graphic and whatnot. But it's the way that it's set up, the way victims are dispatched, the way their bodies are used and utilized throughout the movie, the very nightmarish imagery throughout the film. It just is a very unsettling movie. The tone of it, all of it, it just feels very unsettling throughout. And I just think it's a fantastic film. I absolutely love this movie. The Blu-ray, unfortunately, is out of print. The Scorpion Blu-ray, which is such a damn shame. I don't know why people aren't buying that or why they stopped printing it. Whatever happened there. Now it's like goes for like $100 or something. I'm very happy that I bought it when it was still available over on Ronin Flicks. But yeah, so it's hard to get your hands on a copy now. Supposedly it's up on Amazon Prime. I don't know if that transfer's good, but a transfer on this film is so necessary, because the versions that I've seen of it, like when I originally started watching this on VHS and whatnot, horrid, dark, could barely see anything, awful. Blu-ray, holy shit, brand new experience. I could fully see the movie. Unbelievable transfer from Scorpion. Such a shame. Hopefully one day it gets a proper re-release. Maybe Arrow or something will pick that up, or maybe in Scorpion we'll just re-release it, because I really do like the transfer that we got there. All right, so moving on from Don't Go in the House, as I said, I feel like that's a little bit more well known. Next up, we're going to go 2 in a row here, and they're both going to be from After Dark, the After Dark Horror Fest. Now, there was 4 years of After Dark Horror Fest, and then they did a run of originals. The first being from year 1, and it's something I did on Slasher Sunday here. I think I've done most of these in reviews, and that is Darkride. I had someone request this recently, and I went back and I rewatched it, and I was like, wow, this is a really fun film. It's got great kills. It's got great nudity. Fucking babes, man, with awesome. Great stuff all around in that department. Is the story original? No. Is anything in the film all that super unique and original? No, but the characters are really fun and memorable. The kills are freaking great, and the nudity's on point. Those are like the three things that you need in a slasher film. So Darkride is one I think is severely overlooked. Another one from After Dark Horror Fest, which would be the third one here if we're keeping count, would be Lumberjack Man. This is a horror comedy straight across. There's a couple of them in here that are horror comedies, so some people don't like that. They don't like comedy in their horror at all, so this is one you can skip. This is an absolutely ridiculous, stupid-ass movie, no doubt about it. But there was just something about this premise, something about the way that this film plays out that, I don't know, man, it really just made me laugh. It also has Michael Madsen in it. He's not in it a whole ton, but essentially, I mean, there's this church camp, and there's a killer out in the woods, and he comes back, and he carts around a huge, like, cart of pancakes. Yeah, pancakes behind him. And he hangs people upside down, and he slits their throat and pours their blood onto his pancakes as if it's syrup. So, yes, I know, it's ridiculous. But for some reason, when I was watching this, I just loved every damn bit of it. I was laughing. I was having such a good time. I thought the jokes were all on point. I thought that the taglines and stuff, like the "you don't know what breakfast is" or something, whatever the line is. It's been a little while since I've seen it. It's like 5 years old now, and I watched it that time. And I had a blast with it. And I never, ever, ever hear it brought up, ever. And it's, for me, that's just an absolute fucking crime. All right. So those are the two After Dark Horror Fest movies. So next up, we have got, we're going to go with 100 Tears. This is a movie that I've always quoted, you can quote me saying, I've always been known to quote saying, it's not a quote from the movie. I'm fucking that up. Now, okay. Scratch all of that bullshit. This is a movie that I've always said it should have been called 100 Bodies. Because if you want a movie with a lot of graphic kills in it, here's your movie. Are any of the kills even slightly realistic looking? Absolutely not. Is the practical work in this fantastic? No, it's not. But it's still satisfying as all hell. The characters and the acting and all that, not so great. But you're here for the kills. And there are so many. There are head smashes. And there's so many kills in this film. And they're all on screen. And they're all brutal. And just for that one alone, I absolutely think this is worth a watch. And I just... It's another one that it was out of print for a long while. It's back. It's from 2007, so it's not super old. It's like only 13 years old now. But I think Gertie the Clown he's an overlooked slasher, not icon, but a memorable slasher villain that I just think is criminally overlooked. It doesn't have a great rating or anything, but that's just because the story is very generic. The acting is not very good. It's not shot very well. It has like almost a shot on video quality to it. It kind of looks trashy, but man, if you're just a gorehound, if you just want to see kill after kill after kill after kill, 100 Tears is your film for sure. All right, then we're going to jump over to another super fun, more modern day slasher film that you hear get talked about here and there. But I just feel like it's yet another film that is kind of overlooked. And this one stars Leighton Meester, who is just a babe of babes. This is also 2007. and that is Drive Thru with Horny the Clown. Yes, the Helleberger movie. Just another super fun slasher flick. I can't help but just, is it awesome? Is it like fucking fantastic? No, but it is absolutely worth a watch for any slasher fan. I think a lot of people would look at this cover, would look at the time period, would look at the cast, would look at the premise, and they would be like, nah, this is gonna be stupid. This is one of those dumbass movies that's trying to recapture the glory of the 80s and just isn't gonna nail it. No, it kind of makes its own thing. Yeah, it's a horror comedy, for sure. A lot of comedy in it, but it's still a super fun movie. I mean, most of these are just because they're fun. And yeah, there's some super babes in this. As I said, Leighton Meester being one, and there's plenty of others as well. So you got babes, and you got, you know, some pretty damn good kills in here. And it's just a fun time all around. I really like the Horny the Clown character. And even, what's his name? Freaking Morgan Spurlock from the Super Size Me movie makes an appearance here as like the manager of Helleberger, which I thought was kind of a funny little inside joke that he works for a fast food restaurant when he's kind of the guy that almost brought down the fast food industry single-handedly. So I thought that was a cute little nod. All right, the next one, people will probably consider me biased on this because I am friends with the director here, but I didn't become friends with the director until after I reviewed the movie. He saw the review, wrote me up, and we've been friends ever since. And that is Mikey Mcmahon's Secret Santa. This is a film that came out pretty recently. Another film by this title was released, I think, the same year or very closely thereafter. I've never seen that movie, so I can't comment on what's the better of the two, but I do really enjoy this film. Now, keep in mind, this movie was made for $6,000. It is currently streaming on Amazon Prime. Last I saw, I do own it. I just think that there's a lot of really fun, clever writing, because here's the thing, and this is something I always talk about when it comes to low-budget horror or low-budget anything. Scripts are free. If you're writing them yourselves, dialogue, plot, setup, ideas, all of those, they're free. You're allowed to do whatever you want. So to use the excuse, like, oh, I just didn't have the budget. But did you have the creativity? Did you have the imagination? Did you have, you know, the sense of humor? Did you have those kinds of things to create a funny sequence? There's a gag with a hairdryer that made me laugh out loud because I just thought that was really funny. And it's just little things like that. It kind of reminds me of that scene in Waiting. The difference between ordinary and extraordinary is that little extra. That's this movie for me. It's like, this would just be some ordinary, throwaway, ultra low budget slasher that tries to recapture, I've already kind of made this point, but it tries to recapture that 80s feel, and it fails because it's just trying to be something from the past. But this one, I just feel like Mikey really was clever with his budget. And Annette Wozniak, who I also befriended after this, beautiful girl, I really like her in this movie. I like where her character goes. It's a final girl that you've never really seen before. It takes them in different directions. I like it. And Mikey's talked to me about Secret Santa too, and I'm always like, dude, I will help you with that script all day long. I want to be a part of it in some way, some capacity. I want to be a part of Secret Santa 2. I do hope that happens because I'm just a fan. For $6,000, $6,000. That's nothing. He made a film that, you know, is on this list. And there's plenty of slasher films. There's plenty of movies that were made for millions of dollars. And I was like, I didn't care for that at all. Not at all. I thought it was super generic, throwaway, nothing clever, unique, anything to go with it. So, Mikey, for $6,000, man, you fucking nailed it, in my opinion. But yeah, as I said, people will be like, oh, you're biased because you guys are friends. Okay, sure, whatever. Check out the movie and tell me. All right, next up, another super ultra low budget flick here. I covered this on Slasher Sunday, so if you want to see my full thoughts on this and full spoiler discussion, that's a film called Billy Club, and this is like a baseball slasher. This is yet another. It's back in 2013, so yet another 2010s slasher film. And there's no one in this you've ever heard of. The killer just wears like a catcher's outfit, like a catcher's mask, and the chest guard, whatever, and he carries around a baseball bat, like Negan or something, and he just beats people to death with it. But I just thought the characters were really fun. It's these guys come back to town 15 years later, blah, blah, blah. The story is very generic, yes, and this and that, but I really liked the characters. I liked the kills. I liked the killer. I liked all that stuff. So, Billy Club. I really like the poster as well. So, fan of that. So, check it out. It's on Amazon Prime. So, definitely check that one out. All right, next up, I think we're almost done here, yeah? I've mentioned, I only got 2 left. All right. The next one is yet another horror comedy, much more comedy than horror, but it is a fun slasher movie, and it has Reggie Bannister in it from the Phantasm series as a priest or preacher or something, and it's a movie that just made me laugh my ass off throughout. I really had a lot of fun, and that is Bloody Bloody Bible Camp. I thought this was such a fun flick, man. I really laughed throughout, like continuously, throughout the whole film. I was really, really having a good time. I know, like I've been in contact with one of the writers at one point, very, very, very little. But I think that's how I found out about the movie, because I was in a group called Killer Flicks, and I think he was in there. Or maybe he was in a different group that I was in. But that's how I even found out about this movie. And I went and I watched it, and I was like, holy shit. I was like laughing throughout the entire thing. And I was just like, wow, more people need to see Bloody Bloody Bible Camp. If you're into ridiculous horror comedies, check out Bloody Bible Camp, as well as Lumberjack Man and a few others. Now, this last one is going to be the one that I'm probably going to get some eye rolls on. But I have to mention it because... And you get a kind of a 3-for-1. I kind of left 2 fingers up there. 3-for-1. There you go. You kind of get a 3-for-1 thing going on here because this is a trilogy of films. But are the kills all that great? No. Are the characters? Is there any nudity? No. It's pretty PG-13 because it was made for MTV. And that is My Super Psycho Sweet 16. There was part 1, 2, and 3. My buddy Jeremy Todd Moorhead, the director of Easter Sunday, him and I were talking, and he was like, dude, I love these My Super Psycho Sweet 16 movies. And I was like, oh, come on, man. And so I was like, all right, I'll check them out. Slasher movies on MTV, they can't be good. Although that Scream series, the original 2 seasons, I actually really liked that. So there you go. That's a slasher thing from MTV, and I dug it. But I checked these out, and I was actually really into them. I was like, wow, I can't believe I'm actually liking this. This is probably something that I'm not going to get a lot of agreements on, but I don't care. I'm going to mention them anyways because I think it's cool. So technically you get 12 films here because I do think the whole trilogy is great. I could have went in and been like, oh, Psycho 2 or something is so overlooked. It is. It's criminally overlooked. Most people I talk to don't even know there's a part 2 of Psycho. Or a 3 or a 4. In Psycho 2, 3, and 4 are all really good. I think 2 is fantastic. And I think 3 is really good. And I think 4 is pretty damn good. So overall, man, I mean, there's a lot of films I could have thrown on here, but as I said, I wanted to talk to the horror fans who have seen them at all, and hopefully you got a couple here. Let me know what you watch. Anyways, adios.